welcome to another version of Learning at Home, our University Edition. We have today Dr. Suzanne Newell, who I'm going to kick it over to. If you have any questions during our process, you can put it into the chat. If you have any technical issues as well, I'll help you out here in the background. Dr. Newell, it's all yours.
Good morning, everybody. I'm excited about our newest edition of Parent University. These have been such a fun opportunity to create learning opportunities for parents based on the feedback they gave us in the survey last week. We asked parents what they needed help with in terms of learning opportunities for their students and how to structure good home environments and technological support and a million other things. And we had about 120 responses from parents that gave us answers. And so we have created kind of a roster of sessions that we think will be helpful to families. And the two speakers that I have today are Ms. Julie Kerr and Ms. Amy Montemayor. And they both serve really important roles in our district here, and I'm going to let them tell you about those here in just a minute. But we will go ahead and get started with just a little bit of basic information about the focus. So today's focus is helping parents to better understand the array of accessibility features that are available on students' devices. All kinds of things that our students have the capability to use, but sometimes just the learning curve to learn and understand how to use them easily takes a little bit of time, but it's totally worth the investment. And then also helping parents to support their students in using these accessibility features. So I am going to invite Amy Montemayor to introduce herself first, tell you a little bit about what she does, what her role is, and then also what her biggest celebration has been so far in remote learning, and also maybe what the biggest challenge has been.
Hi, thank you guys for attending today. My name is Amy Montemayor, and I am the coordinator of intervention services. So that encompasses both reading and math intervention and also dyslexia intervention K-12 within our district. So the biggest celebration definitely has been the 6-week journey, getting our teachers up and running in this virtual environment, also parents and students. And it's been exciting to see the number of students participating over the weeks. It's taken, some a little bit more time than others as we learn this new environment. But every week we have celebrations of what's taking place in regards to the teaching and the learning. And also finding a way to meet the needs of the students and parents. Every student and family is different and has different needs. And so working on that a student by student and family by family basis. The biggest challenge, is probably technology. Kyle, and his team has been absolutely amazing. But we jumped into this in just a matter of a couple of days. And I can even speak from my own personal experiences that I can be in the middle of a WebEx and my Wi-Fi will kick out on my house Wi-Fi. And so we're human too, just like the teachers and the students are.
Absolutely, that's so true. In my case, it's partly Wi-Fi unpredictability, and sometimes it's my cats getting in a gigantic fight at my feet, and everybody gets to hear what real life sounds like in the Newell household. But anyway, thank you for that, Amy. We're glad you're here. Julie Kerr, talk to us a little bit about what you do and what your biggest celebration and your biggest challenge has been so far.
My role in the district is I am a instructional coach for special services, and I work with elementary and middle school teachers and students to make sure that their learning needs are met in the gen ed and special ed settings. And it's a great opportunity to be able to advocate for all kinds of kids and just to get to see the differences and learn more about all of our kids in our district. My biggest celebration has been the way that we have been able to quickly jump in and use technology to stay connected with our teachers and our students in the district, as well as I have 2 kids in the district myself, and it's been awesome to see how their teachers and leaders have interacted with them and keeping them engaged in the learning. Biggest challenge, I think, would be user error on my part sometimes with learning the technology. Just like Amy and Suzanne, we have our challenges with the technology, but oftentimes it's the learning curve of learning all the things has been a little bit of a challenge, but it's also been a unique challenge in that I've learned things that otherwise I may not have known about. So that's been awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This interruption has definitely caused us all to learn how to work differently. Definitely GCISD is a good place in which to do that, because we had a pretty solid level of technological literacy before this, but definitely still not a short list of things to learn. All right, well, what we're going to do, I'm going to talk a little bit about the parent university process and expectations. This is a pretty important slide, because one of my only hesitations in starting the parent university series is the fact that we know that every household is different right now. In terms of what the students' needs are, in terms of access to parental support, in terms of time, resource limitations, and that sort of thing. And so really an important backdrop to this conversation is to provide generic and general advice on the topics, not necessarily student-specific answers. Well, obviously, this topic is one that will help students individually, but I want to make sure that we don't overpromise that we're going to solve every question and every problem that exists in the wide array of household situations that we have. Kind of to that end, the WebEx chat feature, for those who are watching, is a great place to submit a specific question that you have as an audience member. But please know that if it's a question that relates specifically to a need your child has, it might be better to send that directly to the teacher or someone at the campus. But if it is a question about the accessibility features or something that would be able to be answered that didn't require knowledge of your specific child, shoot that over to us and we'll do our best to answer that at the end of the session. And like I said, we're trying to be mindful of the unique situations that exist across the district in every home. So as we begin, I want the audience members to realize we are recording this webinar, and we're also going to link the slides and a transcript of the slides to the Parent University website on the GCISD site. And the reason for doing that is so that folks later can review the content. And one of the things we'll make reference to during our presentation today, you'll see links throughout the presentation of particular videos that will guide parents step by step through some of the features. And the parents will be able to click on those links to those videos once they're linked to the Parent University website. That should happen by the end of the day today. This is Friday, April 24th. So just keep watching for those if you need more information, you want to review, or you're ready to watch any of the videos that we make reference to. All right, so I'm going to start and just ask Amy or Julie, I'm not sure which of you has agreed to go first, but just to begin walking us through some of the things that you think are important for parents to know.
Definitely. So I'm going to start on this slide right here, and this is in reference to text-to-speech on an iPad or an iPhone. So like Dr. Newell made reference to, you'll see there are some video links. We know that not only our students, but our parents learn in different formats. So today I'm going to be talking you through the steps, but if you click over on those links later on, that'll give you a video of actually walking through the steps. So the first thing you do would be to go into settings on either your iPad or iPhone. Once you get there, you'll go to accessibility on the left-hand side. And then once in accessibility, spoken content is on the right-hand side of your screen. And you'll see that little image on that bottom left-hand side. So that first area is speak selection. When you go in, that toggle might be off and it might be grayed out. In order for speak selection or speak screen below it to work, you'll want to toggle that on so that it's green. And then when you're in accessibility, you'll see some other features too. You can turn the highlight content on or off so that it would highlight while it's reading it aloud. There are different voices to choose from, different pronunciations. And then one of my favorite features, towards the bottom, you can see that turtle and the rabbit. You can help figure out what speed you would like that text to be read aloud. And so as you move that toggle, it'll give you a sample. And so once you have all of those settings selected the way you want to in your settings app, then you can go into either Safari and go search something. This also works in Google Docs and Google Slides, which I know a lot of our teachers utilize when sending students information. But you'll see at the bottom, I had researched on elephants through Safari. And so your student would then highlight the text that they want read aloud, and you can see the choices are copy, look up, speak, share. So once they highlight the text, they're going to click on speak, and then it's going to read it aloud to them. So you can highlight as much as, a couple of words, or you can highlight a whole paragraph. As you'll see in the video that you can click and watch later on, once it starts speaking, there's also a pause button, so you can pause it as you go through. But that is how you and your students can utilize that text-to-speech on an iPad or an iPhone. And then I will kick it over to Julie for the next slide.
Alrighty. So on the text-to-speech on a laptop or Chromebook, which would be for our fifth graders and beyond, there is an extension called Google Read and Write. And if you go to the Google Chrome Web Store, and there's a link to it in the slide, or you can search it and find it that way. It's very easy to go and on the left-hand side, once you're in the Google Chrome store, you search Google Read and Write, and once you see that icon, you click on Add the Extension, and then once it's added, it will show up in your toolbar up at the upper right-hand corner. And from there, when it works similar to what it does in the iPad, once you highlight your text in either a Google Doc or online, it will read to you. Something to note, when you first download this, the first 30 days, you get the premium features. After that, it will be, the accessibility will be to read, stop, pause, and have those features still available. So this is very good to use with kids who are researching things on the web and things like that. In addition to that one, is the text-to-speech for PDF documents.
Okay, can I ask you a quick question before we go off of that slide, Julie? So you said that the first 30 days they will have premium features kind of like as a trial basis. Will they require any sort of a payment or any sort of a subscription fee for that?
Not when they, no, not when they download it and use it. It will just, after the 30 days, it will just go away.
Okay, and when it goes away, they'll still have adequate access, just not all the fancy access.
Just not all the fancy tools, but the standards will be there to still be able to have that text-to-speech.
Okay, I just want to be sure. I'm going to jump over to slide 7.
Great question. Okay, in addition to that, there's also several PDF readers that you can download. And so there's one that is, it's text-help-PDF, and you can access it the same way as the Google Read and Write. If you go through the Google Chrome Web Store, and you can download that, and that will also, once you have that added as an extension and your student opens a PDF, it automatically comes up with this icon on the PDF, and it will read to them. And there's a sample of that in the video that you can watch at a later time. So it also does the speaking for them as an accessibility feature.
Awesome.
And I have one other tip I have found is once those extensions are downloaded, helpful to restart your computer, and then they seem to jive a little better.
That's a great tip. Thank you. All right, you ready for the next slide?
Sure.
And I will add in there too, Julie and I, both of our teams have talked a lot about PDF readers, and we've been to several conferences. We learned from some science folks in our district that PDFs are like a series of zeros and ones, so it's a coding system. And so just a little caveat or warning that sometimes the PDF reader might read a word or two due to that coding system behind it. But we've worked a lot with several groups to try to find something that will consistently read PDFs correctly.
Thank you for that.
And so the next thing, so Julie talked about on a Chromebook or a laptop. So now I'm going to take it back to iPads and iPhones in regards to speech to text. So that would be when a student is talking and their voice is captured and turned into text. And so again, this is going back into settings. Many times when you get your iPad or iPhone, the microphone is not enabled. And so it's going back into that settings, into general on that left-hand side, and then the right-hand side going to keyboard, and then scrolling to the bottom and toggling that gray switch to green where it says enable dictation. Again, as a reminder, we've got a video that you'll be able to access later on to watch these steps. We actually take you through the view on the iPad. And then this is like the fun part. So because I know many of us use Siri on our iPhones, and instead of texting, we might just use the speaker on our iPhone to send someone a text. We have that feature both in Google when searching something up and also in Google Docs. So if you went in to do a search, you might go to google.com. And you'll notice on that search toolbar there, that microphone turns up on the right-hand side. And so your student can click on that microphone, say they're not sure how to spell the word elephant or maybe photosynthesis, they can speak that word, and then it will pull up a search. And again, watch the video because I walk you through that process. And then Google Docs. I showed you a picture of the keyboard down there. So when a student opens Google Docs on their iPad, you'll notice to the left of the space bar, there is a microphone. So again, that microphone shows up once you have enabled it. And then the kiddos can just tap that microphone and they can speak into their iPad and it will type out what they're saying in a Google Doc. That speak feature is not currently in Google Slides, so sometimes they might have to copy the text from a Google Doc and go move it into a Google Slides. And I do reference this on the video, and if you're used to using Siri or this function when you're sending a text, the punctuation doesn't automatically show up, nor do the capitalizations. So while you're talking, you might have to say period, question mark, comma, or capital letter, or once you're done talking, you can go back in and edit that in a Google Doc. So again, that is speech to text on an iPad or an iPhone.
Amy, that is amazing. Thank you so much for, well, both of you definitely, but I honestly learned a few things too, just about some of the things that were kind of discreetly hidden on my keyboard that I hadn't paid attention to before. And one of the things I have heard from families as we've worked with them on dyslexia support and that sort of thing over the years is that sometimes our students actually know more about this than we do as parents. And so if we can ask them to be our teachers, then we are better able to support them. But it definitely is an important thing. And if students don't know this yet, in fact, a lot of times they do know just because they've been using these features at school. But if the support that they had in the classroom, now that that's missing in a remote setting, this is so important for helping them to become more self-sufficient in their learning and to be productive students in their various classroom situations.
Will you click to the next slide? Is there anything on that slide?
Well, this one right here. Yeah, I accidentally
Okay.
the addition button, and so I'll go back and delete those before we post it. But yeah, here we go.
Okay, because we talked about speech to text on an iPad or iPhone, but there's also speech to text on a laptop or a Chromebook. So at this point, you don't have to go into settings and turn anything on, but you'll see the Google search bar shows up. So same kind of thing. You click on that microphone on a laptop or a Chromebook. It'll ask you to allow that microphone that first time. But same function there. The student can speak whatever they would like to look up, and it will pull up a Google search. And then my favorite is you can see the example of the Google Doc below. And if the student goes into tools and goes down to voice typing, again, they can speak into their laptop or their Chromebook, and it'll type out what they're saying. Again, we've got a video on the left-hand side that you can access later on where I walk through the process of doing that. But sometimes we have students utilize that to speak thoughts of what they want to write, all the way to some students speak like a whole entire paragraph of what they're wanting to write about. So it just varies. And like the iPad, it won't put in punctuation and capitalization, so students can speak that as they're going through or edit once they have their text on the paper.
Awesome. Thanks a bunch. All right. So Kyle, Mr. Berger, are there any questions for us from the chat menu? Or are you there? He usually monitors it, but I know he's also been multitasking in a couple of other settings today. And it looks like maybe he took those 2 slides out, which tells me that that's code for the fact that there aren't any questions in the chat menu. Certainly, if you have questions about this presentation, you can either email Amy Montemayor or Julie Kerr. We'll include their email addresses at the top of the presentation, and they'd be happy to help if you need to grab anything. And if you missed it at the beginning of the recording, the slides will be posted to the Parent University website. In closing, Amy or Julie, do you have any comments that you would like to add now that you've had a minute to kind of think through the presentation that we've made so far?
I would just encourage parents and students to take advantage of these opportunities and these apps and such to help them with the read and write and reduce their time maybe or the energy if they're not a writer. The text or the speech to text is a great feature.
Awesome.
For students.
Amy?
One of our big things is for students to advocate for themselves. And so, even having your students watch this video, many of our students, we've modeled and have these things on their computers for them. And if you feel like, you've got to get on this right now, this document is on the district dyslexia site under parents. Some of the pieces, the videos aren't there. So if you want to wait for the videos, come back here. But again, some students already have these features on their computer and ready to go.
Awesome. And the last slide in the presentation basically just points folks to that document that Amy was referencing. Also, here are some great email addresses that you can send if you have further questions or need support. And we appreciate you being with us. Thank you guys so much. Every time I spend time with you on these sorts of things, I'm amazed and I learn so much. And I'm sure that our parents who either watched it live or watched the recording will appreciate it as well. All right, thanks a ton. And thank you, Mr. Berger, for helping to facilitate the session. He tells me via text that we had no questions today. And so I will either turn it back over to him and he can wrap us up and sign off. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Darren.